Your home never looks so beautiful.
Meteorologist Rodney Price, quite a bit of sunshine for your Wednesday afternoon and quite a bit of wind as well, with northwest winds gusting around 35 miles per hour. Highs will top out in the upper 50s. Tonight will start off mostly clear, but there will be more clouds in the overnight. Temperatures will drop into the lower 30s. Clouds on Thursday near 60 with showers Thursday night. That's the forecast on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. It's 57 at our studios.
And it's the noon hour on a Wednesday. That means it is time for Senior Talk, which is brought to you by the Solon American Legion and Senior Benefits. Here is your host, Rex Brandstatter.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, thank you, Tommy. It is a great day in November. Look at that weather out there. I'm going to tell you, folks, that I just blew in. That would just tell you one word, tell you what's going on. The sun's out. There's hardly a cloud in the sky, and it's pretty darn nice out there. And compared to what we might have for the game on Saturday at Kinnick Stadium, you better take advantage of today and tomorrow and Friday and get out there and do something you think you need to do before fall. Lots of things I can think of. So listen, folks, welcome to Senior Talk. A great day to be here with you, and a great day as always to be a senior. And hello to each and every one of you. Thank you for listening and taking time out of your busy day. And those who are listening who are not seniors or maybe senior gonnabes, taking time out to listen to some things that we're going to stir up here today, just enough to get you question maybe some things you can do, should do, need to do, might want to recommend to others. It could help you, could help your friends. Those are things that we deal with here on Senior Talk, and I'll do my best every week to cover some important things that I think might be worthy of your attention, or at least your attention to take to others. How's that sound? Well, what the best thing you could probably do is it's noontime, and why don't you grab a chair and pull up a sandwich and a nice cold root beer, and let's see what we can cook up for sure. My name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm a 76-year-old real estate broker, and I like to meet and talk and work with seniors, that is for sure. And I work with lots and lots of seniors, their families. I work with a lot of estates for seniors, whether you're an executor or an administrator. You can give me a call and see if I can help you with the process. Maybe selling a property. That's kind of the angle that I use for my senior business, for sure. Banks call me, trust departments of banks call me and say, oh boy, Mr. Smith passed away, or Mrs. Smith had to go to a care center type of thing. What do we do with her property? Those are questions that I can help you with, maybe help you. This may be something you could take to your friends and say, gee whiz, I know your Uncle Charlie passed away and they don't know what to do with the house. Have them maybe give me a call, and I'll sit down and meet with them and see if I can help them. I never know. So that's the story. I have a senior line. You can call 319-330-5534. 330-5534, and we'll just see if I can help. I come to your house. I can meet with you at my office. We can meet at a coffee shop. Makes no difference. It's not an emergency type thing. If it is, we can work faster. But other than that, it's just a good time to have a conversation. And I'll tell you something. I work with a lot of adults who could be seniors for sure, because they're dealing with their parents. And their parents might be really be seniors, maybe octogenarians and things like that. And by the way, Iowa has more percentage of people over 100 than any other state in the union. So anyhow, that's the story, and I'm here on Senior Line. I'm here to help you if I can. And in the meantime, sit back and let's see what we can cook up. Well, right out of the box, I want to tell you, I want to ask you, how are you doing with daylight time? Now, we've been at it since Sunday, and I think that my days seem to go much slower. All of a sudden, what time is it now? Well, it's only 1 o'clock type of thing. That's where I'm at now. In the spring, when we go back on daylight time. Right now, we're off daylight time. In the spring, when we go back on daylight time, well, the days just whiz by. I guess that's the way it is. And I'm a believer. I like being on daylight time, the summer hours. I like that. I don't want them to do away with that. We'll see what's going to happen. So, anyhow, that's a story with this daylight time. Undaylight time. I'm at the office because I still think it's on fast time. I'm at the office at 6:30 in the morning. It's a little bit light, but what am I doing in my office at 6:30 in the morning? Well, that's just the way it is. All right, that's the scoop. Sure. The sleep experts, whoever that would be, but there are sleep experts advise that we realize that some changes occur even with just a 1 hour change. All right, some changes in your habits, some changes in your body, but those changes don't just happen right away. And so they recommend that we go by the clock. Okay, whatever the clock says. If the clock says it's noon, get used to it. It's going to be noon for 4 or 5 months. All right, 5:30 in the evening. That is 5:30. Just go by the clock, and that's what they recommend. That's because it makes it easier to transform over into the new time. So that's the story. Looked it up, and I read a lot of things on that. That's what they all say. Go with the clock. Well, I'm getting a lot more sleep this week. I can tell you that compared to last week. I'm a lifelong Los Angeles Dodger fan, and yeah, I did. I watched all 18 innings one night last week. I'm all smiles now, but that game went to about 2:23, if I recall, in the morning. And the next day, I wasn't worth it. Well, I was pretty good till about noon, then I wasn't doing too good. Well, the ninth inning of Game 7 just proves that if you're a baseball fan, if you're a true baseball fan, the 9th and 10th and 11th inning of Game 7 prove that our old buddy Yogi Berra was right. So on behalf of the Dodgers, it would be you ain't out of it until you're out of it. And that held right up to the last pitch, the last swing. All those games those guys played, starting in February, went down to the extra innings on the last game of the World Series. Exactly what baseball wants. To get the fans involved and things like that. So it played right into their hands, right into the TV moguls who made a lot of money on the advertising. That's the way it is. But Yogi would say, you ain't out of it till you're out of it, or it ain't over till it's over. That's what took place. And lucky me, I happen to be a fan of the winning team. I honestly don't know a Toronto Blue Jays fan, but that series could have gone either way right up to the last pitch, that is for sure. Well, seniors are having a lot of fun. I have lots of senior friends who have already left for the winter. They're gone already, and good for them. Less traffic around here for the rest of us. That's my theory. The more of them that leave, the less traffic there is around here. For good. Well, I want to talk to you just briefly about something here that I talked to a really good friend of mine this morning, long time friend since boyhood, and we talked about Medicare. And if you watch TV all at night, especially on cable TV, they're talking about Medicare and give us a call, this coverage and that coverage. Well, folks, here's the deal on Medicare. If you're a member of Medicare, which you sign up when you're 65, and you get Parts A and Part B and hospitalization and doctor visits and things like that, at least at what they call a gap, at least 20% for you to buy insurance for. So of all Medicare, it covers what we're going to just call it 80%. Now, it may cover more depending on whatever it is, but we're just going to call it 80%. Well, that leaves 20% gap, 20% chink in your armor, my armor and your armor. And so what do you do with that 20% gap? Well, all these commercials, that's what they're trying to sell you. They're trying to get you to call them, and so you can buy the, what quote, the gap insurance from them. And the differences are, I want you to sit back and do this. You need to see who you bought your gap insurance from. Well, maybe your insurance man, your insurance lady here in town, your insurance rep, we'll call them. That's where most people go. They just call up their, hey Charlie, can you sell me some gap insurance for Medicare? And most likely your insurance people will say, yes, we represent this company or that company. You might want to find a broker, insurance broker, and maybe represents 5 or 6 or 7 different companies so you can get a range. You'll hear an advertiser on this very program who does that. You can give her a call and Tammy Rao and see if she can help you. I don't know if she can, but that's what she does. But anyhow, you need to shop. You have until Pearl Harbor Day. You have until December the 7th to figure this out. Otherwise, then you cannot make a change because Medicare needs to know. So you have from now, so you really have a month. You're right at a month to make this change. So you're sitting in the comfort of your own home, and here comes a big movie star telling you about all their insurance. Well, folks, don't believe them. They'll flash an 800 number up there. The movie star doesn't give a hoot, a rat's fanny about you. They get a big paycheck. This is all about you and your health. You and your health. So you want to make sure that you're covered, whatever that may be. Don't take the lowest 100% all-time minimum lowest payment and find out later on, gee whiz, that doesn't cover that. That doesn't cover this. When you need a doc, when you need a hospital, you need them. You want to be covered. And that's why you need to call around. Now, There are differences in all companies. They could say for this coverage, here's what it is. The differences might be a co-op amount of co-op. Maybe some have some sort. Not many of them for seniors. Trust me, folks. Not many of them cover any kind of eye deal. Some of them cover eyeglasses. Some of them cover one visit to an eye doctor, a hearing doctor. Because what goes first on we seniors? Hearing, eyesight, teeth. Those are the things they don't cover. They're smart. Well, some of them might offer limited coverage, but you need to find those things out. So I suggest, what I always do is if I'm happy with my coverage, I don't do a darn thing. I just sit on my front porch and make my wife bring me a root beer. But if I really want to compare, and comparing for coverage and cost is what you have the opportunity to do right now. I have until December the 7th. So that's the story. Get out there and make some changes and call local first. That's what I suggest. Call an insurance man, insurance lady right here in town right away. Ask your friends down at the coffee shop who they use, and then everybody will have a different answer, of course, but that's how you do comparative shopping. So get out there and do it. Don't forget. Absolutely not. Well, a senior lady in her 80s, she said, I didn't ask her, is asking, she says, my house is my home. I would not be able to handle it if I moved. Now, meaning that she doesn't want to move because she couldn't handle all the stress and the miscombobulation and the turmoil and things like that. What happens if my family recommends that I move somewhere? Now, she's all scared to death. She says in her 80s that her family's going to move in. We'll say her son and daughter. Let's just pick something. Her son and daughter say, Mom, you can't stay here anymore. You can't take care of the house. The yard doesn't look all that great. The house needs some tuning up. We probably might need a furnace, or the house might be in perfect shape. They just don't feel that Mom can handle it. Mom probably can't fight it too much, but she can as long as she's the owner. I told her, well, this happens all the time. You have to prove to not only yourself, but to others, especially your family, that you can remain in your house. Okay, you have to prove that, because if they come to your house and it's total disarray and it looks like a bomb went off and you haven't taken care of maybe yourself and or your home, what are they to think? What are your adult people to think when they come home and they see Mom? When they grew up, it didn't look like that, did it? When they grew up, old Mom was beating the kids up for not making their bed and making your bedroom looks like, my dad told my brother that your bedroom looks like a warehouse, and all the stuff he had in there. So my dad ordered a 30-day cleanup period. You got 30 days to clean it up, and I'm coming back. If you don't, you're gonna be in big time trouble. So my brother had to get on the old cleanup campaign. And so that's what's going on. So this lady is afraid that her family might come marching in and say, Mom, you can't cut it. Now, my brother and I were in that position, and we kept Mom's dining room table. She sat there. She didn't have a computer, so she wrote letters. That's the big thing on her age group. She's been gone since 2014, is they wrote letters. Why wouldn't they? Because that's the way they learned. That's the way you communicate with people. If they had a telephone, they wouldn't call each other because it was long distance. And I remember as a kid that we'd call Sunday nights because long distance rates were shorter. We'd call somebody. But otherwise, my dad would be standing there. That's long distance. You hurry up, get done. Now, so Mom was writing letters. Well, the pile got bigger, and the pile got bigger, and pretty soon, there's the water bill over there, and it shouldn't have a house payment, but there's a bank statements unopened, and all this and that. And we determined that we looked in the refrigerator. The refrigerator had about 47 jars of half jars of pickles and stuff like that, And she wasn't eating right. We didn't think, and that was the big one. We didn't think she was getting the proper food source, so we got her on Meals on Wheels A to start with, and then she got sick and ended up in the hospital. But we were close to pulling the trigger on her having to move somewhere. So it happens, folks. It happens. It could happen in your family. It could be you. This could be you. Wow, this could be you I'm talking at right now. If it is, you need to make some changes and let your family sit down with you and counsel. That is for sure. All right. A senior man tells me this. I have reviewed my retirement income most recently. I'm actually living on Social Security and my income from my 401k. Now, right there, folks, I would tell you that 50% of people who collect Social Security, 50%, so half of them, and I think there's like 110 million. I'm thinking, I got to think out loud. I think it maybe 80 million people get Social Security. Half of them, that's all they have. half of them only get the Social Security check. If that's what those people put together for themselves, then that's what they get. I mean, that's their reward, is they get the Social Security check. The average Social Security check, Social Security right now is $1,925, which means what? What does that mean when I say the average is $1,925? That means half the people got less than that and half got more. So just because the average is $1,925 doesn't mean you're getting it. You might be getting $850 or $1,142, whatever program you put together for yourself. You might be getting $3,000 a month. You might be getting $4,000 a month. It's whatever program you put together for yourself. So if you're listening today and you're on your way towards seniordom, I mean senior in D-O-M, not senior D-U-M-B, seniordom, sit down and go over what you think you're going to get for Social Security benefits and get the saving on the meantime. Now, you can go to ss.gov. SS means Social Security. ss.gov, a site that is a secure site, and you can start calculating and make yourself a file in there, and they'll start dumping stuff in there on what you can expect for Social Security. Pretty darn easy. I've been there many times. So I said, so he said, how am I doing? I said, well, if your income from your 401k and your Social Security meets and hopefully exceeds your expenses, you're doing fine. If not, your Social Security and 401 money is not enough. How about a part-time job? And I didn't know what to recommend to the guy. What if he's not having enough money? You could sell your home, but there's no taxes if you do, no federal taxes if you do. A couple little codicils there. If you're single, you can make $250,000 in profit. That's in profit. So if you pay $200,000, you can sell it for $450,000, and there's no federal tax due. If you're married, it's $500,000 in profit. So I said, you could sell your home and put some money in the bank. Do that way. I said, that might be a little radical if you don't want to move. Maybe you could live cheaper in a new location. Maybe you could live cheaper where you live right now. I don't know that. What's your lifestyle? I kind of pointed him in lots of different things to think about. So one of the things I would say, in addition to that conversation I had, is I'm asking you now, listening here today, what is a 401k? Well, Rex, that's the retirement program at work that they put money in. We get a check, we pay into Social Security, and our company, Acme Company, puts money into a 401k for our retirement. Okay, you're hitting the nail on the head. 401k is part of the Internal Revenue Code, by the way. How much do they put in? Well, it's a percentage. Do they match you? Can you match them? Will they match you? I don't know. Can you tap into it now that you are retired? I don't know that. Can you take a lump sum or cash it out? I'm really not sure. I know. Do you? This is perfect language, perfect discussion for you to have with your financial advisor. And I don't mean maybe your buddies down at the coffee shop. I mean a registered professional financial advisor. So now you've got this 401k, and let's just say you work somewhere. Now you're retired, and you have a 401k savings plan, and you don't. Can I take that out? We'd like to buy a motorhome and travel the country. Can I take that out? Will there be tax consequences? Yes. Can I take the money out? Yes. Can I leave it in there invested? Can I take it and roll over to a new one? Yes. Will I have to pay taxes if I do that? No. So there are lots of things you could find out about your 401k. Can I take so much a month out of it and just maybe have a little stipend? Yeah, sure you can. Don't listen to Rex on this one other than the fact that you need to talk to somebody. Okay? Where is the 401k, your company? Where do they invest it? Well, Rex, they invested in the coconut farms in Middle America. Well, Latin America. Get them out of there, for God's sake. Direct it. Your company directs it. You probably don't have much choice. Maybe you do. Will they match you? Think this through. Lots of companies match up to a certain amount. So if you put in $100 a month, they'll put in $100 a month. What did you just do? You just doubled your 401k by putting in, letting them match it. Some companies used to match 3 to 1. Kaboom! Did you make some money there? All right. Look for your monthly statements in your snail mail account or your account online. Find out where it is invested, your balance, and your options. Where it's invested, your balance, and your options. Then you will know. Folks, it's your money. And if you don't know, kick yourself in the old gluteus maximus, because you should know it is your money. Social Security is going to come to you in the mail, not anymore, but Social Security is going to be direct deposited, and that's your money. Is it taxable? Could be. There are benchmarks on the make this or make that money. In addition to that, it's taxable. Yes. Can I make as much money as I want? I heard you can only make $16,000 or $18,000. Well, that is true. It depends how old you are when you take it. It's a lot of different rules. You should also have the discussion with your advisor on Social Security. If you're already on it, you're on it. Go to it. Collect those checks and enjoy it. All right. So there's lots of things you can do if you're not yet 62, which you can start taking that. By the way, what's the most popular? At what age do the majority of people take Social Security? 62, the first year open. And why? Why would you take it at 62? Number one is because you need the money. You need the money. Whatever it's going to be, $1,163, you need it. Okay? Go to it. You don't have long to live. The doctor's told you, Bob, you're not good. You've got big problems here. You might want to circle the wagons on a lot of things. Maybe old Bob signs up for it then because he knows he's not going to get it for very long. Well, I would question that. You sit down and talk to your family first. Talk to your advisor first. Or there's a whole bunch of people who they sign up the day they turn 62 because they're positive, 100% positive it won't be there very long, and they want to get it while they can. Honestly, folks, that is a school of thought. Maybe that's why you signed up at 62 or 64. You couldn't wait till your full retirement age, which is called FRA, full retirement age. They've got it all calculated, and that your full retirement age goes by when you were born. And by the way, the seniors turning 10,000 a day, turning 65, 10,000 a day, the baby boomers, that is going to run out in 2 years. That big swath through our society. So then those numbers will start to go down. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. What I suggest you consider is sitting down and finding out more about your 401k. You might call where you work and talk to HR department. Say, I just noticed in my account, they'll still have your records. I've got, pick a number, of $355,000 in there. They probably have an advisor that would talk to you about that because it's not their money anymore. It's not it is yours. So, but you have lots and lots of options. So get on it, folks. Get on it for sure. You might have just stumbled across something here that might help you in your retirement. You bet. All right. A senior man tells me I have a senior GPS, which is Global Positioning Satellite. GPS. That's in your car. You push something in. You want to know how to get to 3815 Pine Street in Muscatine, Iowa. You push that in and follow the directions. He'll take you right there. Usually. I said, what's a senior GPS? I don't know. He said, it tells me where I'm going in my house, and more importantly, why I was going into that room. That means he gets up out of the chair, walks into the kitchen, and goes, what the hell am I doing here? Why did I come in the number 3 bedroom here? What was I doing? Well, he's got a GPS. Not only tells me where he's going in his house, but why he went there. Oh, well. Well, a couple of weeks ago, this is kind of interesting. In my opinion, kind of interesting. I was talking to my brother the other day, and he's 4 or 5 years younger than me. And in the conversation, I said something like, Dad really liked to read stories about the state of Iowa and our history. And he said, he did. He then said, Dad liked to talk to farmers to see how they were doing. Did you know he liked to wear this or that? And I said, he did? So we learned more about our same dad just by talking to my brother. I grew up with my dad being the boss, of course. And my brother was behind me 4 or 5 years. He grew up with Dad being the boss. But different times, different stories, different things come along, different this or different that. So we each had a lot of different stories. We all had basically some of the same one. But we had different stories about our same dad. I didn't know that. I didn't know he liked this or that. I didn't know he liked orange sherbet ice cream, but my brother said he did. I didn't know that. Now you can't know everything about everybody. I understand that, but I thought it was a very, very interesting conversation. He then produced my dad's DD-214. He was a World War II veteran, and if you're Department of Defense, it's your discharge papers. A DD-214 is what every veteran has once they get mustered out. A DD-214. That if your dad or grandpa was in the Army or the military, you can go to the county in which they filed that and request a copy of their DD-214. You'll learn lots about them when they entered the service, when they were discharged from the service, where they served, any kind of medals. Not that they would ever tell you, but any kind of medals they might have earned. I saw medals one time my dad had, and one time I said, "Boy, look at all those medals." And you know something, folks? That's the last time I ever saw him. I was about 14 or 15. Somehow I saw him. Last time I ever saw him. I don't know whatever happened to him when he passed away. I figured I'd find him. I've never found him. He didn't give a rat's fanny about him. So my guess is he threw him away. Honestly, gosh. Anyhow, my brother also gave me a thing. His VA loan eligibility papers. And on the back, we found $4,600 and some dollars that he had borrowed. Well, that was to buy the house we grew up in, for God's sake. On the back was the amount that he borrowed, and well, who knew? I didn't know all this stuff, and neither did he. So we had a lot of fun talking about that. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about Manville Heights. Now, Manville Heights is an area of Iowa City up in the northwest part of town, as long as you're below the interstate, called Manville Heights, kind of the old money end of town. Well, here's what I was up to. I was driving past the vacant lot the other day at the corner of Park Avenue and Fersen Avenue. It's where the Iowa band used to play all those years. A big, huge vacant lot. I missed that. I don't know if the neighbors missed it or not, but all across town when the Iowa band was playing, you could hear the fight song on the Thursday evening. They were doing their routine they're going to do. Well, I was driving past there, and I just made the comment to myself, gee whiz, the Iowa band has moved out west of town, out by Mary Student Housing, on the west of Finkbein Golf Course, which Finkbein Golf Course, by the way, closes, probably going to close this week, going to be closed for at a minimum all next year. They're going to tear it up and reconfigure the course. Going to be a longer track, what they call it, for 18 holes. All right. So start driving by there. I remember driving by there when I was a kid. My dad would take me over there and watch all the road graders and the earth movers as they made Finkbein, and now they're going to tear it up again and recabulate it. So that's going to happen. A big project coming on the Finkbein Golf Course. Going to start in just a few days. So as I drove by there, I said, boy, I sure miss that. And I was kind of right in front of the Hutchinson house. Where? The Hutchinson house, where's that? If you're on Park Road, right there by that vacant lot, right on the east side of that lot, is an old stone home. It's a large home built by a man named Frank Hutchinson. And Frank Hutchinson was a squatter. Now, what does that mean? There was nothing wrong with him. He was a good guy, but he lived on that land over there in 1840s, and that was before the state of Iowa had got organized enough to sell off land. Now, in 1839, they were added in Iowa City, where they sold off lots in Iowa City, but the rest of the town really wasn't that organized yet. And so he lived there, and when he got ready to buy that, $1.25 an acre, and he bought about 100 acres over there at what's now known as Manville Heights. So if you drive by over there, there's a sign up. The University of Iowa owns that house. Thank gosh, so it's been restored. And they used it, by the way. That's what it is. So Bert Manville, he bought it all from Frank Hutchinson, and Bert Manville. This is about 1910. He told a guy named Merton Fersen, who was professor at the University College of Law, that if he bought a lot, that Bert Manville would name his first street after him. So he did. So that's how it got the name Fersen. All right, and Manville did go ahead and name that street after him. In 1910, Bert Manville secured an option to buy the 80-acre farm owned by Frank Hutchinson, which is now known as Manville Heights. The Hutchinsons had owned the land for many years and had an interesting history with it. Manville proceeded to have the lot platted into streets and lots. Not wishing to take too many risks, he continued the encyclopedia business that he was doing, because now here he was, bought some land, and he was selling encyclopedias. Well, what do you know? one of Manville's first moves, get this, I would have done the same thing here in 2025. He called the University of Iowa and he said, I'll sell you half of it for $50,000. All right, half of it for $50,000. And that would have been from Park Road on the north to the interurban tracks on the south, and from First and Avenue over to Riverside Drive. So University of Iowa said, no. They said, guess what? We don't have any money. And they had no plans for any expansion. So River Street was the main street that goes from North Riverside Drive up and over Manville Heights. It comes down on Rocky Shore. Okay, that used to be the route of one of the down trolleys, streetcars that went from downtown Iowa City. Well, Manville wasn't happy with all that stuff, so he started looking around, and he named Richard Street up there after Mrs. Manville's sister. Her name was Cora Richards, so that's how Richard Street got its name. McGowan was named after the Iowa City engineer, Mr. McGowan. Now, do you think Mr. McGowan unknowingly helped Mr. Manville? Maybe, I don't mean pull a string. I'm not saying that, but helped him in the process of doing that. So Manville named a street. Ellis Avenue is named after Reverend Sylvester Ellis, pastor of the Methodist Church, that big Methodist church downtown where Manville went. Wow. McLean Street was named for UI President George McLean. Wow. All right. Bayard Street, B-A-Y-A-R, is named for the Iowa town where Manville grew up. Bayard Street. That's Little Dickey Street over there. So all this is interesting over there. I don't know where Belden came Street, but here's an interesting thing about Wolf Avenue. Now, Wolf Avenue, the Wolf Avenue Bridge is spelled with two O's. Okay, Wolf Avenue is spelled with two O's. It was named for William H. Wolf, whose family farm stood where? The Wolf Farm stood where the Veterans Hospital is located today. And the Veterans Hospital opened in 1952. And so they would have bought that land a long, long time before that. I don't know if they bought it before World War II or not. My guess is no. So after World War II, they bought that. Well, that's called, it was part of the Hutchinson Farm, by the way. And after the Wolf sold the interurban, the railroad tracks sold them a right-of-way through his farm. Now, they had the right-of-way. The right-of-way got sold probably in about 1902, 1903, when the train started going through. That's when the interurban, where you could take the trolley from Iowa City to Cedar Rapids through Coralville, North Liberty. So all that was going on, okay? All these things are going on, and here comes Manville and wanted to sell some lots. Well, guess what else happened? Manville really, really wanted the Finkbein Farm, or Finkbein Golf Course is. That's what he really wanted, and he settled. He settled for the Hutchinson Farm. Now, Manville wanted to buy the Finkbein Farm over there because he figured Iowa City was going to grow and there'd be lots and lots of houses sold there, and he thought that Finkbein, nice. It's not really flat, but it's open. There weren't that many trees back then. There, anyhow. It was cornfields. He thought that'd be good. Well, the university bought it. They told him they didn't have any money, and they bought it. The rat Finks, they bought it. So that left Manville holding the bag. He wanted to buy something to get started with his dream of having a subdivision. So he bought the Hutchinson Farm, and away they went. Lexington Avenue originally was going to be Woodlawn, and the people of Iowa City didn't like that. They said they wanted a more prestigious name, something like Lexington sounded more prestigious. So that's how Lexington got its name. Well, that's the story about over there. I just think it's fun to drive over there into Manville Heights, and now that you know some of that, take a run over there, and I want you to stop and take a look at, when you stop, be careful you don't get rear-ended over there on Park Avenue, Park Road, and see the Hutchinson house, which stands there. That started the whole thing, and the Hutchinson could look out his window and see later on, a few years later, he could see the old Capitol, because he owned right down to the river on the east, and he owned right down the river to the west. He owned the whole thing. And then he owned the land where the VA hospital is. All right, and he owned the land where the railroad tracks are. So he was a hitter. He didn't know it, but he had a dollar. It was either $1.25 or $1.50. He had the cash back then. I don't know where he got it. I don't know the end of the story. But great little bit of Iowa history there. You know, and one of the fun things that I like to bring to you every week, a little bit of history, so you know those things. If you have some people in the car, you say, you know, that's the old Hutchinson place right there, 1840. The guy was a squatter. And you don't know, it's just kind of fun to at least know some of the things that happen here in town. Well, one of the things you do know is this: is that you don't know how long you're going to be here. Me neither. And I mean here. I don't mean just be alive. I mean we don't know how long we're going to be here. If you get my drift, living with our full faculties or living, but with no faculties. I call that not being here. Maybe a stroke victim or an accident or dementia. That's not being here. Knowing that fact, it's so very important that we do all we can while we can, because remember this, too late may come too soon. Oh, too late, I was going to do that, now I can't, I just can't. I've hurt my leg and I slipped and fell down the steps. Folks, that's what that's all about. Do all we can while you can, whatever that is. And remember that too late may come too soon. That's the hard part about this life thing as a senior. Keep going, doing what you're doing. Enjoy each and every day. I hope to heck you see you over at the Kinnick Stadium. If not, try to find it on TV. It's going to be on CBS. You can sit back in the warmth of your chair and have a root beer and a sandwich while I tough it out over there with the rest of the guys. That's what it's going to be. Feel free to call me on my senior line. It's 319-330-5534. 330-5534. And, folks, while you're over there on Pearl Road looking at the Hutchison House, take a drive by Upper City Park and look at the swimming pool. You can even drive around in there. You could take a look at the swimming pool that a lot of us grew up with swimming in. I took Boy Scout swimming lessons there, life-saving lessons, learned to swim there, blah, blah, blah. It's a great things are happening in Iowa City for sure. So that's the story. I'm so happy to be here as a senior and be talking to all of you today. Thank you to each and every one of you veterans who served our country and all those who are serving as we speak. So good luck to all you men and women who've done that. Thank you so much for your service. Salute. And get busy on finding out your 401k. Get busy on taking care of yourself and your finances. You worked hard for that money. Figure out where it is, where it's going, and what you can do with it to get the most and not pay many taxes. All right, that's the story. So thanks for sure. Give me a call, 330-5534. This is Rex Brandstatter. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. So long.
Looking for a place with a fun, casual